BBC Tees.
Right, 11 minutes past 4. Joyriding, criminal damage and animals being killed. Just a few of the things farmers on Eston Hills have had to deal with over the last few years. Thing is, now they're saying the problem is getting far worse. A new campaign group is calling on the police and the council to help secure access routes within the area to stop further antisocial behaviour. Well, for this programme, Paul Baird has been speaking to the Friends of Eston Hills.
My name's Craig Hornby. I'm the chair of the Friends of Eston Hills, and I made the film about the Hills' history, Century in Stone, which a lot of people will remember from a few years ago.
Craig, you were part of a meeting, the Friends of Eston Hills, as you've mentioned, about concerns that's happening up here. Tell us some of those concerns.
Well, we bought a plot of land at the NAB back in March, a 3-acre plot. That was very well publicised at the time. We bought it with public donations because there's a lot of people in the area who care about the area, care about the hills, and a lot of people enjoy the hills. And yet, the hills are blighted by vandals, crime, joyriders, cars being burnt out, and it's dangerous for some people walking. There's a lot of horse riders who won't go up there now because they're scared of these maniacs in vehicles, often stolen,
Has this been ongoing, or is it something that's new, or is this something we've known for about a while?
No, it's been going on for years, but in the last 15 years, and really everything's been downhill ever since. A lot of the tracks that were really solid, sound footpaths that were well kept and looked after have gone to rack and ruin. A lot of the gates that are on fields and entry points to the hills have been ripped out by 4x4s with winches, and then they go on the hills and they've trashed them, so the damage is unbelievable.
Yeah, my name's David Bridge from Court Green Farm. I'm a tenant farmer, and I run about 120 suckler cows and a flock of between 400 and 500 breeding sheep.
And what's some of the issues for you, Dave, up here?
My main issue is people coming off Eston Nab and up Lazenby Bank in 4x4s, quad bikes and motorbikes. They leave gates open on a regular basis, and the motorbikes have a habit of, if there's anybody riding on my land, of coming up behind them and scaring the horses to see if they can upset the riders, etc., etc. On the four-wheel drive front, this has become more common lately. In the last 2 or 3 years, they are riding up from Gisborough end, they're coming up from Flats Lane end. They like a challenge, so they're coming up the very steep paths up the side of the moor, and they come onto my land. They sometimes leave gates open, and sometimes they cause a lot of damage, like I had nearly a month ago when somebody came up and they went into a field of breeding sheep. They knocked 2 over, breaking the front leg of one and the back 2 legs of the other, and I had to shoot them. They also hit another 3 in the field because we could tell by the marks on the side of the sheep they were still very much alive. They took 2 of those and they dropped them off into Eston Green. I managed to recover one of them. Over the past 24 years since I've been here, the animal cruelty has not been good. We've had sheep with tendons cut. My neighbour got broken into again at the weekend. Another neighbour had 3 people floating around the farmyard, caught them on CCTV, but they had hoodies on and everything, and all the lads we ever see on quad bikes are well covered up and very difficult to identify. It's the malicious damage that happens on my farm, which is very difficult to live with, and one actually wakes up in the morning and one's heart is in one's throat because you never know what you're going to find.
Well, now a new campaign group is calling on the police and the council to help secure access routes within the area to really stop further antisocial behaviour. Let's talk now to Inspector Dan Madison from the Cleveland Police Rural Crime Unit. Hiya, Dan.
Hello.
Hiya. What do you make of the situation up there?
Well, Mr. Bridge is absolutely right. He's part of our campaign group. We need this to stop. It is absolutely outrageous. It's antisocial behaviour. It's criminal use of vehicles, and we will do everything in our power to stop it and to prosecute these people.
So you can confirm you are listening to the concerns, then, are you?
Oh, absolutely. As a result of talking to Mr. Bridge and his colleagues and people in the National Farmers Union and with the local councils, we've created the Rural Crime Forum, the Tees Rural Crime Forum, which if anyone wanted to check out further could look on Facebook and Twitter at Tees RCF. Exactly to share this kind of information, to identify the people, and to put operations in place with our neighbours in North Yorkshire and Durham to put a stop to this kind of behaviour. Time gone by, it used to be we would encourage people to follow the country code. Now we're not only asking people to follow the country code, but to stop committing absolute crime and mayhem on the hills. We're part of a group who are looking to protect Eston Nab. It's a site of fantastic historical interest. But the farming area there is being blighted by fly tipping, people in four-wheel drive vehicles who think it's their right to drive across open country and to destroy farmland just driving through gates, and we're determined to stop them. Now, I don't want to go into a range of tactics that we're actually going to be using.
Well, all I'm conscious of, Dan, you've got a forum set up as well, and I'm conscious people might think actually this is just turning into some form of talking shop. These residents want action, and you're saying you're delivering the action, are you?
Yeah, absolutely. We're listening to what they have to say. We're coming up jointly with tactics and operational ways of stopping these things from happening. Meeting with a local authority to look at securing access where we have bridleways which are being used as access points for vehicles. So we'll look at how we can block those off. Where gates have just been rammed and left in ruin. There's other ways of doing these things. We can have trenches dug, we can put mounds of concrete in, there's all kinds of things we can do, but we don't want to do this to blight the countryside, we need to protect it. So we do have to be mindful of what people want, who are legitimately using the area too.
You accept the problem is getting worse though, do you?
It has, over the past few months, it's becoming increasingly bad, yes.
So what's failed?
Well, I think it's just something that it seems to be more and more popular. The going off road on motorbikes and on quad bikes and in four-wheel drive vehicles.
Have you made any arrests?
Well, arrests have been made, yes, over the past few months. But these, as Mr. Bridge rightly says, it's very, very difficult to identify people. Very, very difficult to actually track them because they are in open countryside. So the best way to deal with it is to cut it off at the source and stop it from happening. And I'll ask for two things. First of all, there is a legitimate course around the hills where you can go and drive off road and in a supervised way, and people can go and maybe don't know about that, and people need to have a look around and see what's available if that's what they want to do as a hobby. But their hobby is affecting other people's quality of life, and that's not really acceptable.
All right, Dan, we must leave it there. Appreciate your time tonight. Inspector Dan Maddison there from Cleveland's Police Rural Crime Unit with how they're tackling the situation up on the Eston Hills. You can have your thoughts and comments via our website as well. If you go to bbc.co.uk/news, we'll put something on there as well. Add your thoughts and comments at facebook.com/BBC Tees